So the court is in receipt of some um, alleged bond violation issues or concerns between um, Mr. Sweet and Miss Redmer. Uh, Frankly, we just need to reinforce, it looks like, um, the conditions. Mr. Sweet, it's my understanding that, or at least some allegations, that there's contact that's occurring through an app called WhatsApp rather than using the court ordered communication app. I don't want you to make any comments on about that right now, but I just want to reinforce that the court has ordered that the only way that there could be any type of communication between you and the complaining witness in this case is through the family wizard, and anything that occurs outside of that from this moment going forward will be considered a violation of this court's no contact order and subject to immediate bond review, which could include up to revoking of the bond. Additionally, one of the court orders was to make sure that all family court orders are followed. It does appear that there was some issue that came up on May 15th regarding parenting time. I just would reinforce that you are to follow this court's orders and the family court's orders, and that could be perceived as an attempt to violate the no contact order or to harass, intimidate, or otherwise threaten the victim. And so I would just encourage you to follow to a T all orders, not just mine, but the family court orders as well. And if you have any questions regarding that, make sure to run it by Mr. Phillips or your family court attorney before you engage in anything that could run afoul of the court. Finally, it looks as if there is a request, because it wasn't made clear on the bond order. The police report has a Glenview address listed. I'm not going to get the specific address, but I think both the prosecutor and defense attorney can simply look at the police report and make sure Mr. Sweet knows that my no contact order extends to that to the Glenview address that is listed in the police report, which the victim has asked for clarification to make sure that Mr. Sweet knows that he is not to return or have any contact with that property. As a final reminder, Mr. Sweet, while on bond, you of course are not allowed to go to any bars, clubs, or liquor stores. So, Mr. Phillips, I don't want to get into a back and forth with your client because the court is not running a bond violation hearing right now. I'm just simply advising your client of the specifics of the bond order, and that now there can be no mistake or misunderstanding. From this point going forward, Mr. Sweet should be more than capable of following this to a T. And if not, then by all means, we will have a bond violation hearing, and there may be some results coming from that, Mr. Sweet, that you definitely do not want. So, Mr. Sweet, are we on the same page?
I don't believe so, because I asked for this specific clarification from the officer that is my supervising officer. I specifically asked if I was allowed to be in a restaurant that has a bar, and she said yes, absolutely. So I'm not sure of the specifics of what you're talking about, but I regularly take my 4-year-old daughter to the burger place that's at the end of the street, and there is a bar inside the burger place, but I specifically asked, am I allowed to continue to go to the burger place? And the supervising officer said yes. Also, the WhatsApp communication, my daughter calls me. So she calls me. And I asked if I'm allowed to talk to my daughter. It's just that she uses the victim's phone to do it. So the records are going to show that it's the victim calling me. So then I asked the officer, am I allowed to still talk to my daughter on WhatsApp? And she said yes.
Mr. Sweet, I don't know quite how to explain it any further. If it's a hamburger place that just so happens to have a bar, then no, that doesn't qualify, and the court's not going to have an issue with that. But if it's a liquor store or a facility that is just designed for the serving of alcohol, the primary purpose of it, I wouldn't say that a burger place, the primary purpose is for the serving of alcohol. So, Mr. Sweet, I think the supervising case manager gave you the right information on that. But you should be nowhere near the bar area, and you should be absolutely not consuming any alcohol or anything like that. But as far as the WhatsApp, you're gonna have to figure that out with your. I would talk to Mr. Phillips about this. Um, I would talk to your family court attorney, because, yeah, again, if there is any evidence, if the victim brings any evidence to me that you have any contact with her on that app, with her, not your daughter, with her, if that happens, then that's on you, and that's going to be a violation. So I would definitely make sure, if I was in your shoes, to clarify with your attorney and your family court attorney, how do I manage this communication with my daughter, so as to not violate my no contact order. Because if during this process, Mr. Sweet, you're contacting your daughter and then say, well, let me talk to your mother for a minute, or you send some sort of message or something along those lines, or outside of something that was previously scheduled in family court, you reach out on the WhatsApp app and say, can I talk to my daughter right now? That's a communication with her that's not authorized. And so, again, I'm just trying to provide you further clarification. Of course, you're not prohibited from having contact with your daughter, but necessarily when the person in charge of her care is someone you're not allowed to have contact with, you've got to really dot I's and cross T's and tread lightly, because any sort of communication that's with her that's outside of the family wizard is not something that's authorized by the court. So that's the best I could tell you, Mr. Sweet. And so I would definitely run that by your attorney to make sure, because at the very least, you don't want the victim to come in here, running here and saying, look, see, he's actually having communication with me. I mean, if I were in your shoes, I would work very hard to protect myself from any sort of misunderstandings. And so I appreciate you reaching out to your case manager, but at this point in time, I think I've made it pretty clear. The burger place, if it's just a burger place that so happens to have a bar, the court's not going to violate you for that. And I'm not going to stop you from having contact with your daughter, but you've got to make sure that you are very cautious in how that happens, so as to not have any direct contact. I don't know if it's a circumstance where you then go through the family wizard and say, what is the best way to handle this. I would suggest that you talk to your family court attorney and bring it to the front of the court, and make sure that you are not putting yourself in a position where you are violating this court's order, because the family court is not one that can revoke your bond, but I can. Mr. Phillips, any other comments, questions?
No, Your Honor, we did talk about the restaurant issue, so we're well aware of that, and I'll have a conversation with him about the WhatsApp and Family Wizard.
We just gotta, this happens, Mr. Phillips. We handle many cases like this. All right. This is not the first time we've had to, come up with an effective plan. But, I just trust that in the meantime, while this case is pending for trial, that you'll work with Mr. Sweet so that he's protected. Because I mean, in the end,
Yes,
that's the key. Because
that's correct, Your Honor.
if Mr. Sweet, I know that it's tough to hear these things, but at the same point in time, the court is giving you a heads up, as opposed to jumping to any conclusions or bringing you in here for a bond violation. I'm just saying, hey, these are issues that I could see coming up in the horizon. Make sure you cover yourself and go about this all the right way.
Understood, Your Honor. And like I said, I don't think Mr. Sweet's doing anything intentionally. I think he's trying to tread a fine line between being able to exercise his parenting time and following the court's orders, but we'll have a further discussion about making sure to follow the bond to a T.
And Ms. Rosenau, I would just ask that you follow up with the victim and just make sure that she understands as well that some of the things that she's bringing to the court's attention are also issues that might be best handled in the family court. But the court is certainly mindful, and we'll try to work with the parties as best as possible to keep everybody safe and allow this process to go through unencumbered by any interference. All right. Good luck, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Of course.
And the children will suffer because the adults can't figure stuff out. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please do put a thumbs up on it and consider leaving a comment letting us know your thoughts. Also, please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and we love it if you join us live weekdays 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific.